I want to bring our political panel back. Folks, a lot to discuss here. If I can, I want to start on immigration. And Matt Schlapp, I just want to ask you, because you've been listening to Donald Trump's varying comments on his immigration position just over the last 24 hours. Just straight up, would Donald Trump, as president, deport illegal, undocumented workers here in the U.S. or not?
Yes. Yeah,
he would deport them.
Yeah, I think what he has been saying, which is rather consistent, is that if you're in this country illegally, you have to leave this country if you're ever to get into a position where you can have some type of legal status. And there's this question about, how many of them are there? People say 11 million. I'll be honest with you, we don't really know how many people are here illegally. It's a huge project. We've never seen anything like it, and I think he realizes it's a huge task. But he's going to hold to this promise if he's elected president. It's the right thing to do to make people follow the law, but it's also the right thing to do to make sure that we have the type of immigration program that feeds our economic needs, and I think it's important that immigration can still be a part of that.
All right, Amanda Carpenter, Matt Schlapp says he's been consistent. Did you hear consistency in the last 24, 48 hours?
No, I do think Donald Trump is all over the map, and it really does come down to the question of what he believes is amnesty and what kind of deportation he's going to do. Listen, deportations are a fact of life. All presidents do it. It matters, what magnitude, what scale they do it on, and how it's targeted. That's where Donald Trump gets into trouble. That's where he hasn't been able to explain the mechanism for how he'll carry this out, and that's why people have so many questions.
Hakeem, curious of your thoughts.
Well, I think he has been all over the map in terms of this issue, which is a very complex issue, but it boils down to three potential approaches. We can either engage in mass deportation. That's impractical. He seems to have suggested that at different points of time during this campaign. I'm not sure quite where he's at right now. You have the status quo, which is unacceptable and untenable, or you can actually move forward with comprehensive immigration reform to fix our broken immigration system, make sure that people pay back taxes, pay a fine, learn English, get at the back of the line, but have a robust, hard, difficult, yet fair pathway towards citizenship. That's Hillary Clinton's position. I think that's the responsible position. And by the way, there's bipartisan support for that in the Congress.
I just wonder if he's trying to have it both ways, signal to folks who aren't comfortable with deportation that, hey, this might be negotiable, while then coming back and saying to the folks who are actually for it that well, I'm not moving from that position. Kayleigh?
I see it as him listening to the voters. What was interesting to me in the Hannity town hall, he said, voters come to me and they say to me, I feel like this part of your policy is too harsh. So now when he talks about it, he talks first about deporting the criminal illegal aliens, which, by the way, the president isn't doing. We've seen 19,700 criminal illegal immigrants be let out under just 1 year of this presidency, 200 murder convictions, 800 sexual assaults. So it's not happening under this president. That's Donald Trump's priority. Hillary Clinton supports the Obama administration. I guess the policy of letting criminals out once you get into office. So Donald Trump is merely saying, these are my priorities. I'm listening to voters. They don't like this part of my policy, but I'm sticking to exactly what Matt said. People have to leave this country in order to come back here legally.
Margaret, I want to, just because as our time goes out, there's another topic that is an issue today, and that is the new campaign manager for Donald Trump. Revelations, and CNN has found in its own reporting that he was charged with a domestic violence misdemeanor. This is back in the 1990s. First of all, that issue, but also tied to other campaign appointments that he's had. Roger Ailes coming as an informal advisor after his issues at Fox News, Lewandowski's encounters with Michelle Fields. Going after Republican women is important for him to win this election. How does that work?
Look, I mean, this actually ties into what I was going to say about immigration as well, because actually, Jim, it's all connected. Donald Trump can't win 65% of white voters and not win 30% of minorities, okay? To get that 65% of white voters, he needs women voters. He needs female Republican voters and independent-leaning women. This is bad optics, to say the least. It's news stories they're going to have to defend and come up with. You already have all of the left-wing sort of activist fringe attacking him, the National Organization for Marriage. So there is going to have to be some kind of maybe changing some public positions on women's issues. But this is also true for immigration. I mean, why is he going back? He's not listening to voters. He's looking at math finally and realizing that a Republican candidate can simply not win if you don't have large shares of the Hispanic population and other minority populations in this country. That is just the path to 270.
Matt Schlapp, your response?
Yeah, I agree with Margaret. I want the Republican Party to be the party of every group across America. And I think it's important to listen to people. But I think what the other side to this as well is that there's a certain fairness here. There's a lot of people who are waiting to become American citizens, and it's not fair for someone to hopscotch the line because they broke the law. And George W. Bush offered something very similarly. He simply said, you have to go back to your country. You have to show proficiency in English, that you're not a habitual criminal, that you won't be on welfare, and you have to fill out the paperwork, and then eventually you can come back. And I think it's the right place to be. You have some, that's a Republican who is considered more moderate in immigration who had this policy. You have Donald Trump, who's a little more of a hardliner in some kind of similar zone. I think there's a path here, but you got to follow the law.
And I do want to note that the charges against his campaign manager were later dropped.
They were.
Thanks to all of you.